Hey there. We're back talking another episode of The Walking Dead, Season 11, Episode 22, Faith. You may notice that we're in a different location for this episode. I decided to move things downstairs because I need to rewatch the episode before I want to watch Episode 23. I guess I'll talk about that closer to the end of this video. So I'm knocking out two birds with one stone here. I thought that I would try things out differently this week, shake them up again as I did last week, and kind of just go back to being off the cuff, but giving my comments simultaneously as I'm watching the episode. Usually I'll do the rewatch and then I'll just film right afterwards. So what I'm going to do, I think I'm just going to pause the episode, and I'll probably just string together a bunch of like reactions to certain scenes. I think last week's was my last week's reaction was a bit longer than I really wanted it to be, and I just don't want to do another like 30-minute episode. I don't know if anyone wants to watch 30 minutes of me, and speaking for 30 minutes is a lot. So that being said, yeah, I guess I'll just get this underway. By the way, if you're like wondering, like, where are you in your apartment now? So this is where I normally film. It's where I normally film up there, and that's where I do my Walking Dead interviews. And so this is actually where I wind up doing most of my writing for The Walking Dead, just on this couch. And even though I have, designated work areas, I wind up doing a lot of it on this couch because this is where I usually always watch the episodes first. So it almost feels more natural to be talking to you guys about the episodes from here. All right. Okay, so a few reaction episodes back, I was starting to wonder who The Walking Dead was going to give all of these little introductions to, right? And I had guessed a few of them, and so seeing Negan at the top of this episode get his own little recap video, I was wondering how people were going to feel about that. I was also really wondering how people were going to feel seeing the flashback to the season 6 finale, season 7 premiere. I've talked to many people over the years. We all know that that's when a lot of people left the show and a lot of people stopped watching. So I'm kind of curious as to how people felt seeing that revisited again. How many times do we need to see that over and over again? But it's kind of funny because, rewatching the episode a second time, it's very obvious now why they show this so early in the episode, since it then winds up being recalled later at the end of the episode. And okay, so last week I was wondering where Magna was. I was really hoping that she was one of the few people who maybe just escaped the Commonwealth. So I found it a little frustrating that at the top of this episode, we see Ezekiel, Negan, and Kelly again, and then with no explanation at all, Magna just happens to also conveniently be with the trio. We also see Princess and Nabila. I get it, there are only 3 episodes left. We need to just, bring everyone together. But I kind of wish that we got to see a little bit more of Magna. And this really goes back to my discussion, my I can't really say pre-season, it's like pre 11C chat, I'm going to call it, right? Pre these 8 episodes airing. When I spoke with Nadia Hilker, she had expressed some disappointment about not getting to see more of Magna, and it really wasn't just her who was saying that. I mean, even if you guys had read my interview with Kari Payton last week, and I had asked him if he was satisfied with his character's journey, he immediately said to me, "No, I am not satisfied," and that really took me aback because I had spoken with Kari last year, and when we had talked then, he was saying that at the least he was saying that if his character was to die, and I'm not saying that he is going to die or he's not going to die, I don't know, but he had said that he had spoken with both Scott M. Gimple and Angela Kang, with the showrunners. Well, Angela Kang being the showrunner and Scott M. Gimple being the previous showrunner, and said that if he was ever to be killed off, to please give him a death where he can hold his head high. So, I mean, part of me is wondering, is Ezekiel going to be killed and Corey Payton isn't satisfied because he wasn't given, you know, a death that's satisfactory on the show? Or is he just not satisfied because he just didn't get to do everything that he wanted to do with this character because they had to wrap up the show? Anyway, I went off on a tangent. My main thought here was, I kind of thought that it was a little too convenient just seeing Magna thrown in here with the group. I wish that they could have, and I don't know if this was because of filming or whatever, if it was because of COVID and the pandemic, scheduling, but I really would have liked to just have seen Magna last week in the episode as well, instead of her just like tossed here. You know, it just felt like they didn't know what to do with her character, and that's a shame. Okay, returning really quick to just, I should have let the episode play for a few more seconds. The addition of Tyler Davis, of bringing him back and showing what happens to people who cross the Commonwealth, that was good. I did like that we saw that. And if you don't recall, and if you were a little confused on who Tyler Davis was, Princess and Ezekiel, they explained this really quickly, that it was the person who had held Max hostage way earlier in season 11. And if you're like, wait, didn't we see him at some other point? Yes, he was the Commonwealth trooper who Princess wound up kind of beating up. I really love how everyone is working together at the start of this episode. There are 2 points that I want to make here. One is that I think it was really integral to put Princess in with this group, because, and I'm going to recheck this for details you missed, but I believe it was in the season 10 bonus episodes. We realized that Princess is basically the she's the details you missed person of the zombie apocalypse, because she is the first one to notice out of Ezekiel, Yumiko, and everyone else, how the troopers change stations. She's just able to pick up on tiny things that other people may miss, right? So we see all of the, we see Ezekiel, Magna, Negan, and all of them working together to figure out the positions of all of the troopers. And I bet you Princess is very helpful with all of that. I actually would have liked seeing Princess giving the map over to Negan for 2 reasons. Not only because that would have been a really great callback to, and I'm still going to consider it a callback anyway, but it would have been a really nice callback to see Princess just keeping a really close eye on the troopers, right? But then also it would have given us like that nice scene that I know, it would have given us a nice scene between Princess and Jeffrey Dean Morgan that I know Paolo Lazaro has been really wanting to see on screen, and I think everyone has wanted to see Princess and Negan interact on screen. So that seems like a very odd decision. Instead, we see Magna be the one to go up to JDM. The second thing that I wanted to point out was that Negan just went full Chris Pratt, Star-Lord in Avengers Infinity War, and blew up the plan. You know, this was the plan to like stop it. It wasn't a plan to like stop Thanos. It's not like Thanos level, but you know, they had this plan to try and escape from the Commonwealth, and Negan lets his emotions, Franny, get the best of him. And I make the Marvel reference because when Iron Man, etc., were trying to stop Thanos, it was Star-Lord's emotions for Gamora that got the best of him and then ruined everything, right? So, I don't know. That's just my Marvel brain working as I'm watching The Walking Dead, and we do know that a lot of The Walking Dead stars are in Marvel. 2 things about this trial. 1, I couldn't even believe that Pamela went with the whole, "That's not my son's voice" defense. What? Okay, 3 things. 2, I can't believe that then she tried to say that Eugene has the technology to alter and mess with a tape. 3, I love that Pamela describes the events of what happened as chaos, just because when I had first discussed what happened to Sebastian with Lila Robbins, who plays Pamela, I described that event as chaos at the Commonwealth, and that's how I described it to like just about everyone. And so to have her refer to the event as chaos kind of makes me go, it makes me feel validated, and it makes me want to go like, yeah, chaos at the Commonwealth. Yeah, that's it. You know, one of the MVPs of this episode is Yumiko. Eleanor Matsuura's character. I don't think we talk about her enough on this show. I know that she only joined on season 9 after Andrew Lincoln, after Rick left. She does such a phenomenal job in her scenes in this episode. I think that if you especially look at her facial expressions, when she closes in, there's this close-up of her when she's speaking to Pamela at the trial, as if she's just like, I can't believe that you're serious. Like, I can't believe that you're okay with this. With condemning this man to death, basically, through your lies. And then again later when she confronts Mercer in, you know, just a few short scenes later, and she confronts him to tell him about Princess being taken away, and she is stunned to learn that Mercer was aware that, you know, someone who he considered a love, maybe the love of his life, was taken, and he's just like, yeah, I know. And I think if you go back to that small look that she has right there, and then the speech that follows, she's just, you know, I think it's one of the really underutilized characters, in addition to Magna, in these final seasons. I really wish that we would have gotten more time with them. I wanted to mention Yumiko's character because every single time, there have only been 2 brief times that I've spoken with Eleanor Matsuura, and I wish that I've done, you know, a one-on-one with her, and I've just spoken with her longer, because she always gives such thoughtful responses. You can tell that and you can tell this with so many of the people, but you can tell how much she thinks about and how much she loves this character.
Do you not hear what I hear?
Do you hear the people singing the song of angry men? I'm sorry, these are the random thoughts that go through my mind as I'm watching Walking Dead. Les Mis shout out. So I just realized another thought that I have after watching this full episode. You know, I thought that we were starting to get some ideas of the setup for the Maggie and Negan spinoff. I think, at least I've presumed, that Maggie and Negan are going to team up to go to New York City because they're going to maybe be searching for Annie and or Herschel. And in this episode, you know, both of them are reunited in one way or the other with Annie and with Herschel. So I'm a little confused right now, unless they wind up getting separated again in the final episodes. I don't know if anyone else was thinking about that, but that was that was a pretty big thought in my mind after getting to the end of this episode.